would love for someone to do a study on how chronic use of the tube affects health. I discovered more of who I am. Also living in London, the way I handle like conflict with people has definitely had to change. My current workplace, very diverse. We all have very different cultural attitudes. The grass is always greener, and I'm well aware of the time that's slipping away. Being in London, you see so many different styles. So my point is, you have to put yourself out there and engage with the world because it has the raw material that will shape you into you. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking on this video. I am back in London after being in Vegas for the holidays. I was visiting some family over Christmas. Vegas is what we call Brisbane. For those of you who don't know, it's nothing like Las Vegas though. It's more kangaroos and koalas than casinos. But they did just actually build the Star, which is a giant casino right in the heart of the CBD. Anyways, I am back in London and it's really freaking cold, but it was really good to get some sun while I was away. Today I want to talk about the 5 ways my life changed once I moved to London. I like making these types of sit down, reflective type of videos because it's something I genuinely do on a constant basis, and I think it's a really important thing to be doing when you're in your early 20s, just any stage of life. I think it's a good thing to reflect on where you've been so you know where you're going. But yeah, let's get straight into it. First way my life changed once I moved to London is I discovered more of who I am. When I moved to London at 23, the idea of self-discovery was not on my radar. I actually hated the word self-discovery, and I remember a conversation I had with someone right before I moved here about my plans to move, why I was moving, and at the end of a really long conversation, he turned to me and said, "You're going there for self-discovery." And I literally remember, I'm laughing about it now, I literally remember cringing so hard and being really, really annoyed that he would say such a thing, because to me, back then, like, self-discovery just implied that you didn't know yourself or that you were lost, and I just did not see myself that way. I've always been someone who's had a plan, who knows where they're going. I've always known my next step. I've got plan A, B, C, D. So yeah, when he said that, I remember just being annoyed, and I took it as a criticism, which I don't think it was intended that way. And yeah, if I'm being honest, there was definitely a part of me that felt a little bit lost and unfulfilled. And I think what I realized is that being lost, or there's several elements of self-discovery, and the being lost part isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think it can be quite a beautiful thing. It can mean that you're in a season of questioning, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you lack direction or there's some sort of deficit to you, which was sort of how I viewed it back then. I more see it now as being brave enough to search for more, or like realizing there's more for you out there even if you don't know what it is. And I think personally moving to London was more about just aligning with the type of life I want to live and being more authentic about like the genuine experiences that I want to have in life. I heard a quote a few years ago. I don't want to sound cringe, but it's something that has stuck with me for quite a while. You don't grow from the inside out, you grow from the outside in. I think it's probably one of the most freeing concepts that I've heard, like mental reframes that I've heard like in the last few years. Because I think when you're in your early 20s, there's so much to figure out, and there's this overwhelming like noise and sense that what you want to do with your life, your purpose, your passion, whatever path you want to walk is meant to just like come from you. Like this is something that you like have internally inside of you. I think that's like the expectation that people have, that it's almost going to be like a light bulb moment, and life does not work that way. And I think what this quote specifically speaks to is just putting yourself like out there in the world, trying things and letting the world mold and shape you into you. And I think moving to London really helped me personally like on that journey, because when you're in a big city, there's just more opportunity for you to be shaped and molded, because you're constantly around different ideas, different experiences, different activities and people that help and shape mold you. And with each new activity, insight, person that you speak to, you really like look at yourself and decide, is this something that really aligns with me? And is it really like something I want to take in as part of myself? So my point is, you have to put yourself out there and engage with the world, because it has the raw materials that will shape you into you. It's not just going to happen by you sitting there waiting for a download. Like, it doesn't happen like that. It's a lot easier if you just put yourself out there and put yourself in uncomfortable environments, try different activities, have different conversations with people, try 10 different types of jobs. That's how you become more of who you are, just by putting yourself out there, because you got nothing to work with if you're just waiting for it to come from the inside out. So I really love that quote. For me personally, this process of self-discovery, self-refinement has come in big and small ways. The next thing is I dress better, and I guess it's subjective because people have different opinions on what looks good or not. But yeah, my style has definitely leveled up. And it's not just about being superficial, but don't get me wrong, there are a lot of good-looking men in London, so I can't be caught slacking. But I genuinely just enjoy expressing myself more. And I think being in London, you see so many different styles. Like, there's Y2K, there's old money, there's clean girl aesthetic, there's classic, there's people that dress up from the op shop, there's retro, there's trendy. And yeah, and you see it just everywhere you go. It's hard not to not be inspired by it. It was actually a friend that I met here that really inspired me to go on this journey, because every time we would meet up, she would just look so freaking good. She would just look so good, and it was never anything skimpy or trendy. It was just perfect for her proportions and really reflected her style. And yeah, since hanging out with her, it just started making me realize there's a lot of opportunity for me to express my personality through my style, which is something I'd never really considered, because growing up in Australia, style is just not a thing, mainly because it's hot the majority of the year. So it's all about practicality and comfort. Like, denim shorts and a tank top is basically the go-to. But here, or yeah, in London, the summers aren't really that hot. So you can still wear long pants, you can still wear long sleeve shirts. You just have more to work with in terms of like style. And the coats and stuff, like, oh, they're just so beautiful. The winter fashion, honestly, it's just so gorgeous. But also, like, who just doesn't like looking cute? And I think when you dress better, you feel better. The next thing is I have better interpersonal skills. Not that they weren't good before, but I'm definitely a lot more talkative, friendly, and social now. Whereas before, even if I knew you, like, if I wasn't in the mood to talk, I would honestly just go the other way, no hesitation, and just keep it stepping. But now I definitely have a lot more space for people, and I see how much value there is in connecting with other people. I bring a lot more of myself to conversations now, whereas previously I would just sit back and listen to what the other person says and didn't really share too much about myself. But I'm definitely a lot more open. And also, living in London, the way I handle like conflict with people has definitely had to change, because my current workplace is like very diverse, very diverse. We all have very different cultural attitudes, and what I think is like a normal way to communicate with someone else does not see that. And there's been a couple of times where I've had beef with people very early on, like when I just like moved from Australia. But yeah, I've kind of become a lot more empathetic as well, because I realized that life be lifing for everyone. I've just realized that people might not intend for you to receive something the way that you do receive it. It's just the way they communicate, and in their culture, it is acceptable. But also, I just know that life isn't easy. Everyone's going through their things, and I'm just become a lot more mindful and empathetic when I'm interacting with others, and I don't take things as personally. My last point on this is I take a lot more initiative now. There was a time where I felt like my London experience just wasn't what I wanted it to be. I just wasn't going out as much. I didn't feel like the people around me were really like people I wanted to hang out with, or genuinely like felt like my type of friends. And it makes sense. Like, I packed up my stuff and moved to the other side of the world. Like, I had to recreate my social network entirely. So it took a while for me to find a group of people that I really like got on with. But even then, it was just hard for us to like meet up and like do things. I came to the conclusion, if I wanted my London experience to be what I wanted it to be, I had to take matters into my own hands. So I definitely go first now to message people, to organize dinners, to book trips. And that's like really paid off and been super rewarding, because I'm living like how I wanted my experience to be. I mean, there's still a ways to go. There are some things that I haven't done yet that I genuinely like want to, and people I haven't really connected with. One of the most challenging parts about moving away is all the events that you miss back home. And obviously I was aware of it before I moved, but it doesn't make it any easier. And also there was a period where I was getting like a bit of FOMO because I would see all my friends' Instagram stories of them all hanging out, going to places that I used to go to as well. And you also just miss, a lot of events. My sister just had her 21st birthday. You miss your friends' birthdays, you miss family dinners, and just like a lot of important things that you used to do. And yeah, the FOMO gets real, but I've had to be really intentional about the way I show up, and show like my love and care and stay connected. Like FaceTime is the best thing that's ever happened. I FaceTime my friends and my family a lot. I FaceTime my sister like anytime I'm bored. I just call her, and I send gifts now like via mail, whether it's like flowers, birthday presents, whatever. Like that's just the way they have to show love. The grass is always greener, and I'm well aware of the moments and the time that's slipping away, that I could be spending with the people I deeply care about. But at the same time, there was going to be a trade-off whether I stayed or went. I'm well aware that I am just in a season of travel, adventure, experiences, following my curiosity for now. And there'll be a time where that season will pass and life will take me in a different direction. I have to be honest, since moving to London, my health has taken a hit in a number of ways. The first way is my skin. My skin is so freaking dry. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about like hard and soft water. I think it's got to do with the amount of minerals or chemicals like in the water, and London notoriously has really hard water, and you can actually feel the difference, because when I was back in Australia, the first shower I had, honestly, the water just felt so different, and the only way I would describe it is soft. And yeah, if you haven't experienced water, tasted water in a different country, you won't really get it. But yeah, my skin is super dry, my hair is really dry. I've started using retinol on my hands because I also work in healthcare and I wash my hands 10 times a day, and I'm just not trying to get like wrinkly hands. It's not happening. The next thing is like the gym. It's so hard to get to the gym, and the gyms here are so packed. If you don't want to pay like 100 to 300 pounds a month for a gym membership, like a high-end one, you just have to deal with like overcrowding and missing equipment, and it's just nonsense. And I've tried to go really early in the morning, really late at night, but it gets so dark here like really early during the winter. It's just not possible, and I need the gym. Like I need the gym for my mental health, but also my physical health. Like it's just a necessary thing. Like you can run at the parks and that, but for me, weightlifting's the thing. The fresh produce here just doesn't taste good. If you guys know where I can get some good fruits and vegetables, let me know. But I've really struggled to find like fruits and veggies that I genuinely enjoy eating. And the last thing is the tube. Oh my gosh. I would love for someone to do a study on how chronic use of the tube affects health, because one, I am certain it causes hearing damage, and two, I'm sure it causes some sort of respiratory illness, because it can be so freaking loud, especially like if you're going really late at night and stuff when there aren't that many people. I think it's weight dependent, where there are certain lines that like it screeches so freaking bad, and I think my hearing is like getting really bad. Not really bad, I'm being dramatic, but that kind of exposure just can't be good for you over the long term. And then also the dust, there's so much dust in the tube, gets in your nose, airway sits in your lungs. So those are the 5 ways my life has changed since moving to London. Let me know if you guys enjoy these types of reflective videos, because I do enjoy making them. Leave me your comments, don't forget to like and share. I will catch you in the next one.